Hey guys, my name is Rob Portilla. This is my book review on Buzan's National Security Problems and International Relations. It's only introductory chapters, but he gives a good overview of what he's trying to get across in terms of national security and strategic studies. What's clear is that he has done a lot of scholarship in terms of writing for national security and stuff. He's been on a lot of boards. He's taught a lot of places. So this is a author who knows his subject well. He starts off by a brief historiography of the history of national security and how it's been written about in literature and applied to various historical contexts. There's mainly two schools of thoughts that he references, which is the realist and the idealist, and they're in constant, it's not a struggle, but debate on how to achieve national security. The realists prefer a might is right type of mentality and achieving national security through power, whereas idealists prefer a peace option and focus on such things as collective security. During especially the intermission between World War I and World War II, but having that fail, as he puts it, with the UN and the League of Nations, they fell back to disarmament and nuclear weapons control as such. As far as that goes, the historiography, he says, contributes to an ambiguity of what national security means. What I think he's trying to say by that is that national security as a term in the INR has been very abused. It's basically been made to fit whatever it is a political power or entity or actor, I should say, is trying to accomplish. And a lot of things have been done in the name of national security. So, it's interesting because he argues that national security shouldn't be defined as such. That defining national security could be too complex or maybe have a lot of nuances. And in a way, he kind of does mention that some people have tried, and there have been some notable attempts that he mentions in his historiography. However, he says that it's been too narrow in the terms of historiography and literature. He said that national security has been too focused on the military aspects of national security, and that military aspects should be the only concern of national security. But what he attempts to do is to broaden our understanding of national security and kind of increase the scope of what it means to achieve national security. He mentions that if you were to define national security and point to an example of what it is, it would be pretty hard to do. But Buzan kind of characterizes it into 5 distinct categories for national security. They include military, political, societal, environmental, and cultural core values, as he mentions in his introduction. So, in essence, what he's trying to do, I think, is steer away the conversation from national security as a purely military application into something that encompasses far more. And I think it has aged extremely well as far as the original text goes, and even the revised version. Currently, we're facing many challenges in national security that aren't just from military powers or other military actors. There's climate change, there's economic strife, things like that could destabilize and compromise national security just as much as an armed conflict can. So it's interesting to note how he also says that national security as a subject should be expanded on in terms of INR, in the context of international relations. He does also mention strategic studies, and that's something that I thought was interesting. Strategic studies is something that he says doesn't necessarily fit or does not fit into national security. It's something that should be working together, and that neither are defined as one another. So what that means, I think, is that he makes a distinction between national security and strategic studies. However, he does say toward the end of his introduction, I think it was on page 20, that national security and strategic studies should be working together to increase the understanding and better apply the fruits of each study or each discipline to those respective disciplines. As far as what I think about the text, this is one of my first I&R courses. I'm a history major, and I studied extensively on a lot of conflicts, social movements and stuff. And it's interesting to think about some of those instances in this context. So, all in all, I think I'll be checking out the book that he wrote, because I think there's a lot of applications that can be learned from broadening the perspective of national security studies. And Buzan also mentions in one of his in a quote, page 20 also, that my purpose is to map the terrain of the concept. He's talking about national security in both its general features and its conspicuous hazards, to reveal the rest of the narrowness, but also the advantages of broadness. So basically, what he wants to do is slam this idea of the narrowness of national security and expound on the broadening of it. And he also mentioned that the ambiguity surrounding national security is important to know, because sometimes it is willful, in that it's willfully misinterpreted and willfully left ambiguous to, as he says, promote domestic change. And as such, he does this, his main argument of broadening national security, to reduce political potency of national security by exposing both its limits and its advantages. So, that is my review of his introduction. I'm looking forward to doing this perhaps a little bit more polished and prepared, since I joined the class kind of late, but I hope to see all you guys in the discussion boards, and I'm really looking forward to this semester. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation, and let's have a great semester. Thank you.